G'day everyone, it's Craig from People with a Passion, and today I'm joined by a lovely lady who's connected with me, who's the mother of a young lady who's 3 years old, who is decided to do something really special for someone who has done something wonderful for her. So your daughter's name is Isabella Carlson, and she's been given a wonderful device that has actually helping her do things she couldn't do before. She was born with her left hand missing, but what makes it so special is it's a 3D printed hand, and the person who's actually doing that we're going to speak to from Melbourne shortly. Do you want to describe what she's actually doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Craig. So Isabella received this 3D printed hand, and she's nominated Matt from Free 3D Hands for the Sunsuper Dreams for a Better World competition, where they could win up to $50,000 in grants. And so Isabella's nominated him, and we're getting the public behind the vote so that we can get them some much needed money to do their amazing work.
So what do they need to do to actually help Isabella help Free 3D Hands achieve this goal?
Well, the way it works is the 3 out of the 6 that get the most votes win $5,000, and then the judges choose the winner of that to win another $5,000, and then they go into a pitch round with the 2 previous winners from the previous 2 rounds, and that's where they can get up to the $50,000. So the first step is that people have got to vote for Free 3D Hands. So if they go to dreamsforabetterworld.com.au/vote, I'm sure we can share the link.
We'll definitely share the link.
And go to Free 3D Hands and put in your vote there. That would be amazing. And if you could even go beyond that and share that on social media as well, so that we start getting those ripple effects, that would be amazing.
So we'll get to speak to Matt shortly, and we'll also throw up some photos and images and videos of the work he's done. And what's so important, or what's this done for Isabella, having this 3D hand? And I understand she couldn't get the hand till she was 3, is that correct?
Well, even 3 was a little bit young. So Isabella was born without her left hand, and I was very proactive. So even when I was pregnant and I found out that she didn't have her left hand, I already started looking at what technology was available and connecting with all sorts of people around that. And I came across Matt's work then. So I actually emailed Matt when Isabella was 3 weeks old and said, hey, my daughter doesn't have a left hand. He said, well, she's probably a little bit young at 3 weeks old. So I emailed him again at 2, and he said, yeah, she's probably still a little bit small for our hands, but, you know, we'll put her on the list. And so I emailed again at 3, and Matt said, look, it'll be the smallest hand we've ever made.
And it is. She's actually received the smallest hand, and it's a pretty cool looking hand. And that's the one thing about Matt's work that I've noticed is everything he does, he's done stuff for adults too. It's not just the hands. He's doing devices for people with arm and hand differences.
Yeah.
So the amazing thing is he's doing it for free, and has been for the last 2.5 years. He was actually an engineer at Toyota, at the Toyota plant in Melbourne, and when it was shut down, he became redundant, and he's been using that money and living off that. But in the meantime, he's actually started the Free 3D Hands charity. What have you noticed with Isabella since she's had this device that he's created for her?
Yeah, look, the thing is, Isabella has just always gotten on and done stuff, as kids with limb differences do. You know, they're no different. You wouldn't, in fact, people don't even notice a lot of the time. They say, wow, I just didn't even notice until it's pointed out to them. But there were some key things we were starting to notice that she couldn't do. And there were things like when she rides her bike, she would hook her left arm over the handlebars, which meant that she was really unbalanced. And we worked with another organisation for 6 months or so to they put something on her handlebar that her hand would go into, but it swiveled. And as soon as she started using that, she became terrified of riding her bike. So the main reason for reaching out to Matt at 3, when she was 3, was to say, please, you know, can you just have a go? Because she needs something to be able to help her to do that. And now she can sit up really straight on her bike. She uses the hand just to put the thumb underneath the handlebar, so she's not even gripping it But it gives her the leverage and it gives her the ability to just be stable on her bike.
Yeah, and she's also blowing bubbles. I saw in a video. She's got
and I wouldn't have even thought that was a big thing. But we were at a kid's birthday party. They were giving out those big tubes of bubbles. All the kids were playing with them, and she was fine. She sat down. She put it between her knees and kind of held onto it. She spilt it at one stage. And then she said, "Oh, could I try using the hand?" And so we put the hand on. And I think that's one of the important things. It's not actually a prosthetic.
Yes.
It's a device that she uses for particular things. So she doesn't wear it all the time.
Sure.
Like most kids, the novelty of things wears off, but she uses it when she can see that it's going to make a difference for her. So here she is just holding this tube of bubbles, and just the look on her face, and, as a mum, that's all you want for your kids, is for them to feel like they fit in and they can do everything that everybody else can do.
We've got Mat Bowtell has joined us from Melbourne, and we've just been talking about you, of all things, and about the great work that you're doing with free 3D hands. So let's just talk a little bit about why you've decided to do this and how you came to be doing this.
Well, back in my university days, I was studying engineering at Monash, and they sent me on a scholarship over to study mechatronics in a university in Japan. And it was during that time that I had the opportunity to trial a $1 million bionic arm, and very fascinated with the technology side of things, but at the same time couldn't help but feel saddened that a lot of people around the world would never be able to even dream of, getting something like that. And it really planted the seed in my mind that we have to, as a society, find ways to use technology to bring that cost down. And it was only really in the last few years of working as an engineer at Toyota, when they announced our redundancy, that we'd be losing all of our jobs in 3.5 years' time, that I really revisited that passion and thought, can we use 3D printing to as a means of getting that down to, below $10 if possible, to make these sort of assistive devices more available to people around the world.
Now, how many of the devices have you actually created to date?
Well, we're in the hundreds. For a long time, we weren't actually counting them. We're tallying them now. We've probably made 200 plus, but we also release all of our designs online to allow other people to manufacture them under a Creative Commons license. So people can download them. If they have access to a 3D printer, they can scale and modify the design to suit and print it out. And our designs have been downloaded almost 4,000 times.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And just from your experience, because you're sending these out to people that are connecting with you as well, what are some of the stories and the benefits for you? Now, you're not taking a wage from this, we understand. So,
well, it just brings me an amazing amount of joy and satisfaction just to see how I'm able to use something that I enjoy, which is making things, as an engineer, to put a smile on people's faces, and it becomes really addictive. And it all started out, when I was going through this redundancy process, going through a time of real change, and I just wanted to do something positive with my skills. And it all started with making one hand for one kid, and it became really, really addictive, and to the point that I when I walked out of the gates for the last time, I decided this is what I want to do with the rest of my life.
So a lot of people do fall into their passions, and they often say, if you don't know what your passion is, find your purpose. Do you feel you found both?
I think I've definitely found both. I was really good at what I did as an engineer at Toyota, and I enjoyed it, but it was only when I asked myself the question, if money didn't exist, just pretend for a moment that there was no such thing as money, how would I spend the rest of my life? And it was when I really asked those questions and eliminated money from the equation that it helped me to find that passion and my purpose.
I saw in an interview where you said giving the hand away for you is the value of it. Even if you sold it for $1, you choosing to give it away makes it priceless. Do you want to explain what that means for you?
Well, and that's why I haven't been able to draw a wage up until now, because I feel that it's through pure giving with no expectation of reward that you get the most satisfaction. And if I sold a hand for $10, say for example, Izzy's hand, I just charged them for the materials, in which it cost about $10.
Yes.
And the postage to get it there. Then to me, it would only actually feel like it's worth $10,
Yes.
and I'd only get $10 of satisfaction. But when you know that you've given it away completely free of charge, with actually asking, please do not send us even a donation for the hand. That's when it really, really feels rewarding.
It didn't quite work because Katie's now put you up for nomination with the Sunsuper Dreams for a Better World, trying to help you get some money.
That's only one thing. She's also helped us with the with our Facebook page and things, with the social media side of things. That's her expertise, and for me, that's she's now helping us with something that she enjoys. Yeah. So she's just sharing a part of her heart with us, and it becomes exponential then, the ripple effect through the community. And I think I'm just so grateful for Kate and being, offering her skills and support through her ability to raise awareness over social media to, get us hopefully a chance in getting this grant, which will help us in a really big way.
Obviously, there's different stages along the way, and Kate says you're a very humble person. You don't ask for much, so you haven't asked for this. This is actually Izzy and Kate coming together and saying, well, this man's doing this for all these other people. Let's do this for him. But what does that mean for Free 3D Hands to have that sort of income? What is that going to do for your organisation?
Well, we're planning to get some additional 3D printers, which will increase our capacity. We're starting to really reach into the less developed countries now. So to be able to support in that manner from a production side of things. And we've also, Kate actually suggested through the grant that we actually can put some of that aside to get some support from administration. So not to myself, but
yes,
to get someone to help us. Like I spend a lot of time, and my wife's also working full time as a volunteer.
Yes.
But to have someone on board to help us with returning emails and all of those sorts of things would allow me to free up time. So it would be basically buying me time to innovate.
Yeah. So one of the things I've noticed about your designs, and particularly the ones for kids, is they're actually they have you got yet?
Yeah, I've got one here. This is our latest one. So this is even a later version than the one that we gave to Izzy, with a new cover on the wrist. So we're actually upstairs printing her latest version right now.
Yes, we saw the video that you sent
just before. There are about 4 printers running different parts on there at the moment.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. So, with your permission, I'll show the video of it printing the different parts.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got red hinges printing here, yellow palm, some purple bits of fingers, blue fingers, green bits of fingers. It's going to be one awesome rainbow hand, Izzy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we mentioned the rainbow. And the fact is, you're listening to what the people and the clients, I guess, want. There was an instance there on social media where a mother wanted a drink bottle for her baby, and you've literally within hours come back with an image and said, will this do?
And here's one we prepared
just
earlier.
Trying to find ways we can use flexible materials to wrap around a bottle so it forms a handle, on any sort of bottle, and just experimenting and thinking of ways. And it always comes from a problem, someone wanting to try something new. And I remember there was one mother that she'd posted that her son only had 2 digits on his left hand. And he wanted to play the piano, and should she discourage him from doing that? And as a pianist myself, I thought, no, there has to be a way. And I came up with an attachment that you can actually rotate the left wrist and play the piano.
Hey guys, this is the latest version of the piano attachment that I've designed for anyone with a partial left hand to be able to enjoy playing the piano. It stretches 1 octave, and you can play any major or minor key in the white and the black keys. And I'll give a quick demonstration, and I'll switch across and see if you can notice the difference. very simple design, but quite effective.
The skipping rope. One girl didn't want a hand, all she wanted to do was skip, so we devised a skipping rope attachment. And now we've sent hundreds of those around the world to other kids that are using them for all sorts of things other than skipping, like playing the drums or even holding a dishwashing brush.
I had Izzy sweeping up after dinner the other night with her hand. So.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, she said to me, "Can I have the hand?" Because she would just put the tray there and then get the brush, and she would sweep with the other hand. But the tray kept, the pan kept moving, and so she said, "Oh, can I put my hand on?" So I put the hand on, and it just meant that she could hold the pan in place and actually sweep up. So it was fantastic.
No, it worked out very well for you, Kate, getting some help with cleaning up.
Matt, you may have created a monster
Yes.
with Isabella. She might think she's got a hand printer on tap with you.
So I can only imagine that when you first saw a 3D printer as an engineer, that was like Christmas for you.
Yeah, it was. And it was actually at the Avalon Air Show down in Melbourne back in, I think, 2015, where I saw 3D printers becoming more readily available. There were a few set up there, and I thought, wow, this is the answer. This is how... and we've got a $200 Aldi printer upstairs, which we use for the sole purpose of validating our designs. Because some people may not be able to afford a $1,000 or plus 3D printer. And so, can these designs be made on a $200 machine in the middle of the desert running from a solar panel? So we focus our designs on the ability for others to be able to replicate and make them themselves. We were actually offered a $100,000 machine recently, and we turned it down because there's no point having a machine like that because then our designs would change to suit that higher quality of accuracy in the design, and then other people wouldn't be able to replicate it. So it's almost opposite thinking that you would have if you're doing something for commercial purposes. You'd want the big expensive machine to have a competitive edge. So everything we do, we really have to think in an opposite way.
Yeah. One of the things I notice about your designs and why I think they're extremely popular too with the kids is they look like superheroes' hands. So Iron Man, and I noticed the Transformers type badge on one of them, and you can mix and match colours and make them very unique for the individual, and it makes them look like they're almost bionic. And for a kid, that can be pretty cool. It can turn something or an experience where people look at them and may notice a difference to now noticing a difference that's a cool difference as opposed to being potentially the target of bullying because of their difference.
When designing this hand, I thought, how can I design it in a way that a fully able-bodied person would look at it and go, I want one of those?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think they do that.
In kids' confidence and just joy.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
So the evolution of this for you, they're devices at the moment that allow children and adults, because you've made them, you make them for people that are missing one or two fingers and things like that to allow them to do things that they couldn't do before. So something as simple as giving someone another digit can help change their life and improve their quality of life. And that, like you said before, might only cost $1 to make.
Can I add in there too? I think one of the important things about that is that although we have an amazing funding scheme in Australia to help people who are, who have some kind of difference, we've been told by the hospital that Isabella is so high functioning that the chances of her getting NDIS funding is really slim. Mm-hmm. And so our options are we either go and spend thousands of dollars on a prosthetic, which we wouldn't do to help her ride a bike because she'd grow out of it in 6 months or a year. And so, people who are missing 1 digit or 2 digits are probably not eligible for a lot of the funding that's available to help them get that help. So the stuff that Matt's doing really helps people that otherwise fall between the gaps. So
yeah, and that sounds like a lot of money for a prosthetic for a young child who is growing as well. So it might, but you're working on, you've gone, you want to go full bionic, I imagine, by the end of this at one stage.
I was actually over in visiting Oregon Medical School last year in Portland, and I met a man who had developed a $120 million bionic arm. He'd spent that much money on funding. And there I was walking into the room and saying, oh, here's my prototype for a $50 bionic arm. And he almost fell off his chair. But his face just lit up with joy, because that was his core dream, to be able to make them more accessible too. So we've formed collaborations with these people. And really, most of what I do is to try and encourage people in this space to find new ways to get that cost down, you know, even if it's sold commercially, right, through a prosthetist or a bionic developer. As long as it's not costing the recipient money, I don't care if they take my learnings and apply them and improve them. But it's all about trying to get people to focus on that improvement with the sole target of making things more available to people who can't access them, or just giving people new experiences that, you know, that they didn't have before. And I think a lot of the problem with, I don't think in countries like Australia, sometimes it's not an issue so much with access to disability funding through the NDIS, for example, here in Australia. But kids with a limb difference, a lot of the time, their parents raise them to learn to adapt to having a limb difference if they are missing, or they've got a smaller hand than the other. And I think it's really important to teach kids to be resilient and learn to live and adapt with that hand. But when you have to go to apply for this funding, you have to prove how you can't live with your disability and why to justify getting such devices. And I think so the thinking is, I don't see kids with limb differences having a disability. They've got a different ability. They're not broken and needing to be fixed. It's about how do we allow them to be included into other activities and join in with other kids. So I think it's a mindset shift that I'm wanting to encourage as well throughout the industry, which is pretty conservative and traditional.
And as a mum, I can't tell you how heartwarming that is, because the hospital have told us the same thing, that in order to get the funding, we'll have to prove that Isabella is deficient and can't do things. And they said, you know, you need to really remove anything that makes it look like she's really capable and coping. You need to prove that she's not, and that there's a really big need for the funding. And why would I want to do that? We've done nothing but show her and raise her to be this confident little person that just gets on and does life, because that's what she is and that's who she is. So it's a really important point that Matt makes, because the whole system is designed to almost, you know, have these children feel different and separate and like they've got some kind of horrible disability, and that's the last thing we want them to feel.
You've been nominated by Izzy for this $50,000. What would you like to say to encourage people to vote, have them help other children be able to get these devices?
Oh, look, I'm just full of gratitude for Kate and Izzy for nominating me for this grant. And look, if you do have the time, takes 10 seconds to vote. It really helps out in a big way to continue doing what we're doing and reach out to people all over the world. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing the story, and thanks Kate and Izzy for all your love and support.
No worries. Thanks for your time today, Matt. Your time is valuable, so we won't hold you up anymore. And thanks for all the work you're doing, mate, and good luck. And I hope you win the grant and you can make dreams for a better future for more people.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
See you, mate.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Kate.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Have a good afternoon.
You too, mate. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
Kate, one thing I haven't addressed is who you are as an individual. Now, your daughter was born with a hand difference, and you're a person that throughout your life has actually worked with charities and helped with your area of expertise. And that's why you've latched on to this organisation. But even though your daughter's the recipient of one of these devices, your history demonstrates that that would be irrelevant if you come across a charity that you feel you can help, that you would do that. Do you want to speak to that and the work that you're actually doing now and the work you've done in the past around charity?
Yeah, sure. So I started out my career in the not-for-profit sector doing business development and fundraising. So I worked for about 15 years, mostly in cancer and health charities. And I got a bit disillusioned with the sector and got a bit frustrated with how fundraising was going. And so I ended up 10 years ago, this year's my 10th year in my business, but 10 years ago, I started a consulting company working with not-for-profits from the outside rather than the inside. But it was at the very beginning of social media, and a lot of them wanted to jump on board with social media. So very quickly I specialised and made social media my thing. Back in the early days of social media, there wasn't a lot of budget for it, particularly with not-for-profits. So I ended up doing a lot of work in the commercial and business sector.
Yes.
But I still have a very strong passion for... I'm really passionate about helping organisations, and not just formal organisations, even community groups and some of the smaller, lesser known organisations, but to powerfully tell their story using social media and digital technology, because it's, it's unprecedented opportunity nowadays to tell a story with very little budget, but in a real way that connects with people and helps the causes that these amazing organisations are working towards. And I'm particularly interested in looking at that intersection between humanity and technology and corporate. And so I'm always looking for where that intersection is, because I think the corporate sector and businesses have got a real role to play in investing in some of these amazing innovative programs that actually save government and taxpayers and people a lot of money. And there's a unique mix that can happen if you get the right people, the right organisations, the right corporates with money, or the right philanthropists, all coming together for a common cause. And there's so much that can be done in that space, which is what I'm trying to help Matt with at the moment.
Yeah, because Matt's not drawing a wage, he's living off his redundancy, and he refuses to charge for his devices.
Without Matt, there are no hands for kids like Izzy.
Yes.
So I'm determined to do whatever it takes to help get that support. And he would, as you said, he would never ask for it. And we wanted to donate. He literally would not let us, because he just says, you're a recipient, you shouldn't have to pay anything. And the minute you want to put money into this, it changes the dynamic and it changes what we've done here. So he gets it though. I'm giving back to him in other ways, because I'm determined to help get them the help that he needs. And his wife is the backbone of everything that happens there too. Yuka is amazing, and she was integral in helping us get our hand in terms of the communications and keeping us up to date on what was happening. So they're an amazing team, and they also have an amazing team of volunteers down there. I know Isabella's hand was worked on by a set of 17-year-old twins who go and volunteer. They were there for a school excursion or a project or something, and now they volunteer whenever they can. They drop into the factory after school, and they help Matt assemble the pieces once they've come off the printer. And so they have an amazing team down there, and there's a lot of goodwill in the community to support what they're doing.
So if you have some money that's spare to throw around, I will put a link in the description on the video so that you can actually donate to his work. While I'm throwing information in the description, I'll also, with your permission, put a link to your organisation. What's your social media organisation called?
So I have Social Mediology, which is the consulting and coaching and training. I work with corporates and medium-sized businesses. And then there's the Social Media Success Academy, which is for smaller businesses. We're just in the process of rebranding, but it's the Social Media Success Academy, which is online learning and an online community for small businesses.
No worries. Is there anything you'd like to add at this stage?
Thank you for the opportunity to share the story, and thank you so much to everyone who's already voted. It's already started to spread like wildfire on social media, but there's 3 weeks of voting. Voting closes at 9 a.m. on the 14th of October. So please get in and vote at the Dreams for a Better World website, and hopefully we can bring back some great news when Matt and Free 3D Hands are the winners.
No worries. Send us a photo of Izzy's new hand
Rainbow
when it,
hand,
rainbow hand when it
she'll
arrives,
be so
and we'll share
excited.
that. Yeah, she doesn't know that, so
No.
she might get an inkling if she sees this video though. So she might know that's for her. But look, thanks for your time and thanks for connecting with me so that we can help share the story. I think Matt's story is definitely worth sharing, and it'd be nice if there were more people like Matt in the world that were prepared to give of their time and their money to make other people's lives better. One thing I would love to have touched on with Matt is he makes these hands and he makes them like heroes, hands like Iron Man and Transformers. The truth is more people, we all watch these movies of heroes, but in our own lives we can all be heroes just by making a decision to help someone else and help improve their lives. And I think Matt for me is a hero.
Absolutely. He's a superhero in our life. Yep.
No worries. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Craig.
Thanks for taking time to watch this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you smash that subscribe button and also hit the bell button to get notified when new interviews are uploaded. Once again, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime. Catch you later.